Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day to all. Okay, today we're going to cover chapter 3 on parking study. Okay, the first part we're going to explain or learn about parking scenario, the concept of parking facilities, then followed by some analysis on parking demand and how we're going to manipulate the data from the parking to get their analysis, especially for occupancy and performance. Okay, first we look at this issue, parking to provide or to restrict. Okay, in traffic management, we also concerned about the parking alternative or parking approach, whether we're going to provide or we're going to do some restriction for some areas. Okay, it been recognized. Parking demand always high in CBD area. So is that the reality of scenario? Okay, time and fuel wastage, pollutions, congestions, and also the drivers or motorists, they tend to find parking facilities or parking area to park their vehicles. And also there is some uh, sidewalk or pedestrian activities area that take place from illegal parking activities. So this kind of scenario, we're going to give some restriction or might give some penalty. So we also need to consider about if there the need of the on-street parking. Yeah, we have to consider, but we look into also the safety of others road users, like bicyclists and also the pedestrians. Okay, maybe we can use others type of the parking facilities instead of on-street parking, but we provide off-street parking. So later we're going to cover on-street parking and also off-street parking. Okay, but there is some limited because may encourage parking, may encourage people or driver to use private automobile. Okay, these are the uh, behavior of the driver to be. The use of private vehicle can be discouraged if we do some restriction of the parking. We just locate limit number of the parking lot, parking space, and we just charge with the higher fees for to use that particular parking lot or parking area. Also impose some high tax for the parking operators. Then city planner will have a shift to demand parking away from CBD. So we have to use some alternative because we're going to limit the parking for the motorists. So we have to provide some facilities to avoid or to reduce parking from the others motorists. So provide ample parking at the mass transit station. So instead of provide parking in a city center area, so we encourage the motorists, they can park their vehicle at certain location or parking satellite parking station, and they have to move or change to other mode of transport, especially for MRT, LRT mode of transport. Provide park and ride facilities. Okay, so satellite of car park. So we pull out to driver to use this particular facility. Okay, impact of the parking in terms of ability, convenience, cost, parking effect of mode choice. An owner of private automobile is likely to use their automobile to access their destination if okay, consider parking is plentiful. So parking is convenient, located, and cost of the parking quite reasonable. However, owner of private automobile not like to use their automobile and choose other mode of transport if parking is scarce very limited. Parking is inconvenient, so might be away or quite distant from the location they're going to go, and the cost parking charge that too expensive. Okay, others parking affect the vitality of community, commercial, business center, transit system and port. So sufficient parking important when making trip for social visits or social activities, and to keep business alive, and also to facilitate transport system. Other mode of transport lah, such as bus, trains, LRT, and air travels. Okay, parking affected circulation of traffic downtown areas. Okay, this is some scenario in Europe cities. It was estimated that 40% of the travel times to works was spent for searching for parking area. So it's a lot of hours spent for that particular purposes. Okay, parking policy to strike a compromise between amount of curb space devoted to parking and moving the vehicles, to make provision parking of delivery vehicles, short-term parker and long-term parkers, and design parking lot and their approaches so that street traffic is not adversely affected by the ingress and egress parkers. So yeah, we seem like to be look this particular situation. There is very limited parking and it's not easily to park the vehicle anywhere. So we have to come up with some good and mitigation approaches. Okay, to ensure the interest of business establishment along the street is enhanced by good parking arrangement, to ensure parking policy and public transport policy are complementary. For example, car park adjacent to bus stations and would enhance bus ridership. So we just give some alternative to the road user or motorist, instead of they going to use their private vehicle to go anywhere, but they just park to one place and take another alternative mode of transport. Okay, to preserve characters of neighborhood by restricting parking and enforce of land use controls, to control parking supply and demand through a pricing mechanism, encourage short-term parking and discourage long-term parking by serve to enhance CBD. So this is one of the approach. If you park your vehicle within the short term, you're going to charge less. If you parking your vehicle within long hour, so we're going to charge more. Okay, type of parking first, public parking. There is normally it kind of on-street parking and off-street parking. For on-street parking, it may be free or not. Sometimes they put the charge for the particular parking, especially for very busy area. And it may regulated, unregulated, no parking during rush hour or no overnight parking. While off-street parking is usually a parking lot, decks, multi-story building or basement area, or exclusive parking structures, which is they put the facilities of parking away from the street. They pull at particular certain location which is open or closed areas. This one is considered open, this one is considered closed area, whether or basement or multi-story. Okay, private parking, usually off street. Private parking includes home, apartment, building, garage store, driveway, or affiliates where specific parking permitted required. Okay, for owner, home, and apartment businesses, exclusive for member of club. So some location for recreational area or hotel or some apartment, they're very exclusive for that particular parking lot for certain owner. Okay, on-street parking, private parking also can be exist. They also can be provided for on-street parking. If you look at this scenario, this particular vehicle, whether they have their private parking lot or what, this kind of the parking facilities. So they have a dedicated number of their vehicle registered vehicle license plate, and this parking color as yellow. So this kind to be uh, permitted, or they pay this exclusive parking lot for their own vehicles to the authority or parking operators. But if their this owner have others vehicle, but that vehicle, if they own that other vehicle but still can park in this particular area, particular lot, because they are assigned for this particular vehicle, so they pay for the booking space for this particular vehicle only. Okay, on street parking there is known as curb parking as well. So they're just parking that there's alley the street, the parallel parking. Okay, a tandem parallel parking is recommended for major street with heavy vehicles. Also recommend for roadways. Okay, they quite advantage. Some parker they use double park. Also, it we consider is illegal to double park, but still can acceptable if the driver, they do not pull their handbrake. They must put the handbrake as neutral, and put some notification and contact numbers. If in case someone going to go emergency, so they can contact directly to the other double parker. Okay, there is also the type of angle parking. Angle parking is allowed more spaces per line of curb. Maneuver of angle parking is easier compared to parallel parking. However, it restrict traffic movement on the street rather than parallel parking. So parallel parking is not going to easy to going in. You going to park is not quite easy. What more if you going to reverse parking? But angle parking is easy to park, but not easy for going out, because you have to look your rear side. This what about look like for angle parking. It's very easy to park your vehicle compared to this one. Sometimes you can go from the front side, but sometimes you're going to use reverse parking. It's quite not easy. Okay, this is the geometrical design for parallel parking and angle parking. So for the parking is quite simple, just straightforward, but you have allocate some space for average length of vehicle. Compared to angle parking, we can insert more vehicles because the space is quite diagonal or incline. So we can use a short line to refer to this line, but we can allocate more parking space area. Okay, this one is off-street parking. The first one is open space parking. Space parking lot outside the building. There's some area they put in the large open area and close to the main road, or some area away from the main road. Okay, also they provide a basement, a car park, and also a rooftop car park as well. So this kind of the off-street parking. Okay, there is some video clip, very good video clip that consider scenario in South Korea. It's very large parking area, then the user spend more time to searching parking area. But they have a simple solution for that particular purposes. So look at this video clip.
South Korea, a country devoid of oil. Seoul, a city where 1/4 of Koreans live, with one of the world's highest gasoline consumption. The situation is getting worse. Car usage is increasing. Petroleum costs are rising. Parking spaces are scarce. People are stressed out. Every day, a Seoul driver wanders 500 meters to find a parking space. In a month, this equals 15 kilometers or 1 liter of gas. S-Oil, one of the 4 oil companies in Korea, took action. It is on a mission to save oil. Right here, right now. Thus begins the HERE campaign. It has set up a HERE balloon for each parking space. As a car parks in it, the balloon falls. When the car exits, the balloon rises. Cars can spot these balloons from afar. They can spot open parking spaces without wandering. Finding quick parking means saving oil. Is worth 1 liter of oil saved.
고육할 때 엄마들 결혼만큼 경제적인 게 없다고
딱 이정표가 있으니까 참 뭐 좋은 아이디어 같아요.
주차장에서 한번 가니까 신기했어요.
풍선 없었으면 못 들어오는
So lihat dia punya kesan dia dengan kaedah yang dia buat tu very simple method and creative, but they give some significant impact in terms of the saving time and saving some fuel consumption due to not easy to searching parking space around very large areas.
HERE balloons have saved drivers' gas expenses through a new and interesting method. S-Oil, the oil seller, gained the impression of an oil-saving company. Save oil, save time, save money. HERE, taking action for a better world. Save oil, save Earth. S-Oil.
Okay, next, multi-story car park. So we quite normal to see this kind of the structures near to the shopping complex, near to the apartment, or any in the city areas. Okay, some use basement, some use rooftop to provide parking space. Okay, some use very mechanical cylinder stack. They use to slot any vehicle parking. I think this is quite very secure. But please be sure you not left anything from your vehicles. It's very difficult to go back and pick up your vehicles. Okay, some use a very simple story or layer, only 2 layers, but some they have a very large stack or very high stack to put or to park the vehicles. Okay, there's some quite interesting video in terms of the parking using puzzle concept. So this implement in India for area in hospital. General hospital is quite heavy demand. So this particular parking serve more than 300 parking space at one time. It's very interesting concept. Okay, that was parking in India. They use very creative concept. Okay, next we have also the category of rotary parking system. It looked like just a ferry wheel, but not really around. Like a ferry wheel. It's going to be around, but this is going to be, I think, oval shape. The vertical oval shape. For moving vehicle from lower to upper to slot the empty for the space. Okay, this from installed in the Terengganu. It's quite interesting. So, but they are only limited for certain size of vehicle. That's one. SUV, MPV for 4x4 vehicle, which is maximum only 1,850 kilogram vehicles. So it's not for some overweight vehicles. That's quite reasonable vehicle size. So this it implemented in 2011. So I think more than 9 years ago. Okay, this the typical of off-street parking in terms of the thematic design, especially for multi-story parking. So they have interlock shape or interlock type of parking. Okay, they have also the 90 degrees. So they put as vertical or not really vertical, horizontal, but consider as vertical in terms of the 3 degree, 90 degrees. This one 45 degrees. Other one they can design as 60 or 70 degrees. Okay, next we move to the parking analysis or parking study. So before that, we're going to understand the definition before going to do the analysis. First one, parking durations is actual length of the time a vehicle remain on one parking space. Parking accumulations, the total number of vehicles parked in the specific area at specific times. Okay, parking lot. Parking lot is the area under accumulation curve between two specific time. Parking space, and large enough to accommodate one vehicle with restricted access, no blockage with other parking or parking lot as well. Parking demand, the number of vehicles whose drive desire to park at the specific locations or general areas that specify for that particular parking facilities. It is usually expressed as number of vehicles during peak parking hours. Okay, parking supply, the number of parking space that are available. This one is the vehicles to park their vehicle. This one is parking supply in the facilities for the parking space. Okay, parking turnovers. The number of vehicles utilize the same stall over a given period, like 4 hours or more within 8 hour period of turnover rate. Parking turnover usually measured as utilization. How many percent that particular parking lot been used. That's what they call parking turnovers. Okay, walking distance, the actual distance traveled by foot from parking facilities to the parker trip destinations. Okay, parking efficiency, the extent to which parking demand exceeds the supply, expressed in number of parking space. Okay, last one is average durations, total vehicle hours, total number of vehicle park, and occupancy, which is we measure as percent, number of space occupied, and total space available. Okay, parking study can be done in order to estimate parking demand. We need to carry out this parking study because we want to know the demand. Also analyze the capacity and use of the parking facilities to evaluate the performance. And also relate with the financial feasibility, functional design, structural design, and also demand analysis. So when we start using the parking facilities, so we proceed to the study, then this will be included. Okay, the type of parking study, how to collect the data, how to do the size of the study. Okay, first we can do very comprehensive, also the limited, but also we can assign very specific areas. Okay, sampling must be done careful in order to prevent bias toward oversampling for short-term parkers. So we have to carry our data collection or observation activities carefully to avoid not good data not represent the actual activity of parking. Okay, the method of collecting the data. Okay, first we're going to simple one, in and out, which is we can observe all the vehicle going in, going out for specific location within a specific survey period. This method is yield overall accumulation or occupancy only. So we look at one shot only. Okay, fixed period. All vehicle part focus are counted at the beginning of the period service, period of survey period. Occupancy count are conducted every 15 or within 1 hours. This method may be missed short parker, may be difficult to private garage. Okay, this quite popular and I think quite suitable method. So we call it license plate surveys. Most accurate and realistic data because every parking space is monitored by fixed interval within specific vehicle. This method is very labor intensive. Yeah, we need some manpower, more than 1, 3, up to 10 people. It can be done partly omitting the first or last digit of the plate because sometimes we have a series of number license, plate license. So we just omit the 4-digit numbers. Maybe we can use other 2 or 3-digit last numbers. Other technique we can use photographer. We just took the picture from the area photo or from the drone. We can count number of vehicle for that particular area with a specific time or interval time, or we can observe from the parking meter or receipt from the their parking charge area. Okay, analysis for parking facilities. First one, we look in terms of adequacy analysis. So adequacy analysis can be measured by calculating the probability the entering vehicle may not find a parking space. This method we just use a probability method. Okay, we want to calculate the probability of rejection. Then we know that parking service is worthwhile or adequate or not. Okay, this simple formula to be used. A refer to traffic load, which is number of vehicles. Q is flow. Time is T is the time for average duration parking. Okay, and probability we're going to use the formula, which is P equal to M power divided by M factorial or divided by the series of the number of parking lot or parking space. Okay, if the probability rejection is high, you may want to consider adding more parking in the facilities. So is consider majority of the drivers or road user did not use that particular parking because the very limited numbers. We may have to increase that one. Okay, we move to this example. Parking facilities that have 50 parking bay or parking lot receive an or incoming vehicle flow rate of 120 vehicle per hour. So this one is the flow rate. If the average parking duration is 50 minutes for every vehicles, okay, as average. Analyze the adequacy of parking these parking facilities. So back to the formula that we already covered before, which is A equal to Q T. Okay. Okay, we have to determine A. So we obtain already a Q, given a Q 120 120 vehicle per hour. Okay, the T duration time average is 50 minutes. So be careful, the Q is hours. So we have to convert this into hours. 50 divided by 60. So we obtain these numbers. They just took it in hours. So you can calculate as decimal also. Okay, A equal to Q multiplied by T 120. Okay, multiply by these numbers. We have convert this one into the fraction, or you can use decimal directly. Okay, we obtain 100 vehicles for A. Then we can proceed calculation for this formula. So remember this formula. This one, probability formula. Okay, we just use this M as parking space or parking lot. This one is A. Okay, is the load, traffic load, and we have to calculate by 50 factorial. So repeated. So easily, if you can use the Excel spreadsheet to the iteration to calculate the iteration. It's not easy if you do by calculation using a calculator. Better use the Excel. Okay, we obtain a 0.5 or 0.51 or 50%. More likely 51%. Okay, therefore, 51% of incoming vehicle will not find parking space. This parking facility is not adequate or inadequate. So we have considered half of the visitor or the motorists cannot find their parking space for park their vehicles. Okay, this one for exercise. Just read exercise is observed during 8-hour study. 96 vehicles are entered into parking lot, electronic store. The parking has only 5 space, very limited, 5 space. The customer park their vehicle for 15 minutes, very short time. Calculate the probability incoming vehicle will not find the parking space. Okay, try to use this similar reference for the exercise as example, previous example to calculate this one. Okay, next, the method using license plate method or license plate survey. So very simple, we just calculate the parking duration, which is number of observation by interval divided by number of vehicles, and parking turnover, number of parked vehicle divided number of parking space. Okay, the given data, this one. Okay, using plate license method collection data. Okay, determine determine parking duration of space 019. Okay, the parking turnover space 019 to 112. So this is the number of space, not number of the each individual, but that specific space or lot, not numbers of all the parking space. No, just a lot, a single lot. Okay, this is the space number, or lot number, 019, 0110, 011, no, 1110, or 111, 112, 113, 114. You can say 100 also, 109, 110 as well. Okay, this is the number of observations during morning until 11, 9 a.m. To 11:15 a.m. So this is the data. So look at this particular data. They have a series of numbers which is represent the plate license at the 3-digit last number, and also they have put here the prefix or some indicator E, T. Okay. Okay, the E here represent E suffix indicated the meter was expired. So they part over period, overdue period. So this expired, they have to consider to insert their coin or insert their coupon, extend the period. This one they have capital T. So T considered as delivered truck. So they put T to indicate that particular hour at 10, that particular space occupied by the truck. So the right indicator that particular vehicle that continue the part to this moment or to this period. Okay, this one is empty. There's no other vehicle parking, just free or empty. So this one they parking more duration from 10:15 to 10:45. Okay, let's move to the calculation. Okay, the first one, parking duration. Number of observed interval of divided by number of vehicles. So we consider to 109. Okay, if you refer this one, 019, you calculate how many vehicle parking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number of vehicle 5. But in terms of the duration, so you have to calculate the active duration only. This one. Just leave the blank one. So here, the number of observation is 8. The observation in terms of the hours, in terms of the interval, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, then multiply by 15 is interval, and divided by vehicle. Vehicle is 5 only. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 only. That's why you get this one. If 8 for observed interval, and this one is for vehicle. So we obtain 24 minutes for that particular parking space for vehicle. That the average. Okay, next, parking turnover. Parking turnover, number of parked vehicle divided by parking space. So this specific for 109 to 112 over 2.5 hours. The whole period, from the 9 to 11:15. Okay, parking turnover specific for this particular space, 109 to 112. If you refer the data until 114, but you have to focus this particular row only, 1109, 112. Okay, if you calculate that one, okay, you have a number of parked vehicle 12. You can calculate refer again, 12 vehicle. The space is only 4. 109, 110, which is 110, 111, and 112. So only 4. So 12 divided by 4, we get turnover is 3 vehicle per space. Okay, next we have also others analysis we call space hour demand. So space hour demand can be determined using this formula, DSS, space hour demand. P, which is percentage of parkers time, N is number of parking space, T is duration parking for parkers type. So we have a typical Parker's type. Later we're going to look at the example. Okay, the demand served or not should be determined in order to determine number of additional space required to meet the demand. Okay, let's move this example. An office following characteristic or duration operation is 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., which is 14 hours. Quite long operation hours. Okay, the number of parking space in the garage, they provided 500. So very large parking space areas, which is this type of the parkers. 80% are commuter, okay, during 8 hours. Okay, 10% is visitor, okay, which is 2 hours, and remaining are shopper, parking or average 3 hours. However, observation made at the garage indicate that 15 of the visitors during peak hour, which is at 10 to 12 p.m. in the morning, and 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. did not find parking. So 15% of them, which is visitors. So how many additional space should be added to this garage to meet the demand? So this is the data. So they have 500 space for parking garage. Most of the parking garage are using by commuter. Commuter, which is routing users, use for that particular parking. Okay, 10% for visitors, the remaining for the shoppers. Okay, for calculate this one, remember P is type of parkers, this one is N, number of parking space available, and this one is T, which is parking hours for that particular parker type. Okay, the first one we obtain 300 or 3,200. Okay, the second one 100. The third one is 150. So the not served, demand not served, which is 50% from 500 within 4 hours. 4 hours period. So suppose 300. Okay, space hour demand. Okay, we look at altogether 3,755, which is at all 300, 3,200, 150, 100, and plus this one. So this is the demand from the parkers, but the space served only at this numbers, which is we add this at this one, 3,100, 200, 100 is 150. So we just have served at 3,450. This one the demand. So the balance not saved is 300. You just deduct this one. We just simply use this one, 300, the similar value. Okay, now we can consider, because additional demand during the 4 hour, number additional parking space to be need or to be considered 300 divided by 4 hours. So which is needed extra 75 spaces, additional one. Okay, but here discussion, although 75 additional space are needed, but it's only during for peak hours, only 4 hours, although only 4 hours within the peak hours. It is open debate whether the garage owner should be spend more money to meet this demand, because the rest of the operating, which is long period operating, 14 hours, deduct by 4, so 10 hours remain is not been using, because the demand is only 4 hours. It is likely 75 space may not be occupied. So it kind of the wastage. Okay, maybe the owner might introduce some additional or some policy. So for the short-term parker, they're going to give some rate, special rate. For the long-term parker, they're going to charge more rate to meet this particular demand, rather than they just put the additional parking space, as much 75 spaces. But the serve only for 4 hours, but the 10 hour remain is not being occupied. Quite wastage. I think that's all for cover for this parking studies. For the next part, I will cover for the next week or the next time. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you for listening, and follow this chapter or this particular part on the parking analysis. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.